Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Wednesday, March 16, 2022, live from Vegas as we landed last night. Not late, I guess, 10 p.m. I think my head hit the pillow around 1 a.m., which I was already back east in my mind at 4 a.m., grabbed a 2.5 hour cat nap. Today, been blessed and honored. This morning, Andrew McGinnis and the Breakfast Bankroll as he gets ready to head to Vegas. Then jumped on with Colton Soroka, Riley Magnuson, and we talked for about an hour and a half on Talking the Line as they get ready to head to Vegas. And then I was blessed and honored with the one and only Matt Peralt and Dave Sharapan. Jumped on with them for about a half hour on the Bostonian versus the book. And now here we are at the closing bell. The city is buzzing. If you're coming out here, just be ready, wall to wall. It's madness, and that's why it's called March Madness. There is so much going on in the world right now between MLB Free Agency, NFL Free Agency, NCAA play-in games, NIT, NBA, NHL. It is overwhelming, and if you get caught up in the madness, you're going to wake up one morning and your bankroll is going to be gone, and you're going to say, holy shit, I missed the dance, which starts tomorrow. So I'm going to bring in my co-host, Mr. Scott Webb, and we're going to talk wherever this thing goes. There has been a bag alert. 7:50 a.m. yesterday, $163,500. And then they doubled back at 9:18 p.m. for another $135,000. And it's in the second game, the play-in game of Wright State versus Bryant. And I'm not going to tell you what side they're on. Just a second. Just hold for it. All our loyal listeners, all our newbies, do me a favor. Do me this favor. Just jump over to YouTube, East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. Smash the like button. That's all I ask. And then you'll find out where the bagman is. And he went 7-3 over the weekend. He netted about 200,000. I mean, a tough weekend. And if it's the same man, he's got 300,000 on this game. So without further ado, the one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Good afternoon, Scott.
How does it feel to be in the warm sunshine and sitting by the pool and, hobnobbing with your shoes off?
After this morning, I said I've been waiting 6 months to get into the hot tub. I go outside and I jump into the hot tub and I start talking to a gentleman from Toronto, and he was at Cape Cod during the summer. Then we're talking about his trip. He asked me what I do. Next thing you know, we're talking sports. Then two young gentlemen come in from Denver. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? And I left there, I think, more fried than I left the building. I was like, I've had enough. Time out. I got to go. Shout out to our man, Marty Lowe in Alabama. Yes, the Titans released Julio Jones. I told you last year I thought it was a bad signing. He's seen his best days. Free up that money. Onward he goes. But Scotty, so much to talk about. The show, the platform is yours. You want to go right into baseball. You want to go wherever you want to go. The stage is yours.
Well, there's a lot of things going on in baseball world, right? So I guess you can't really start the baseball conversation without talking about Matt Chapman. So, the A's deconstruction is certainly going on. I think the new CBA was designed to keep this from happening, but I guess that's the way you build teams now, is you tear them down and build them back up with the prospects you get. And, they didn't set a floor number, so you spend however much you spend. So Matt Chapman, he goes to, of all places, Toronto. So, so that means Toronto's in pretty good shape here. And, there's a lot of good American League teams, and you're still going to have to pitch and you're still going to have to get all the stuff done. But they got a lot of key pieces, and even if Matt Chapman is in a decline, I think that the defense is going to be enough that makes a difference there. That his added power is great, but they got plenty of power. Just looking at it, they got 4 guys projected to hit over 30 home runs and 6 guys projected to hit over 20. There's only 9 guys in the lineup, Jeff. So you got 6 of those guys that are all going to hit 20 home runs or more, and 4 of them are going to hit 30 or more, and a couple of them are going to hit 40. So they're going to score runs. The question's going to be is did they do the right things? Barrios was the number 1 for the Twins for a long time. Kevin Gausman was the number 1 for the Giants last year. Ryu was a number 1 for the Blue Jays for a little bit. And I think Manoah eventually could be a number 1 for anybody. So they got some pitching there, and then they got Kikuchi to pitch, in the 5 hole. Health is always going to be a thing. It's always going to be a factor. But I would say this. Freddie Freeman going to an American League East team could sway all of that, meaning that, the Yankees aren't too far out of where the Blue Jays are. The Red Sox aren't. The Rays are right there. So and the Rays are in this mix for some reason. I don't know how they got in it, but they're in it. And if they were that would be a huge thing if the Rays could get a guy like Freddie Freeman to go along with all the stuff that they do, and then provide all that pitching that they have. Of all the players, you don't know who they are, but they go out there and do the shit they're supposed to do. And then that kind of levels the playing field. But you still got to figure out where Correa goes, because Correa is probably going to go back to the Astros. That makes them that much better. So this American League is going to be pretty tough. Now in the National League, Did
you freeze up on us?
this Olsen signing is a big deal to the Braves, because there you are. And then you have the Mets, who are trying to catch the Braves, and then all of a sudden they catch the Braves, and then the Braves go and they bring in Olsen, and now they sign Eddie, whatever his name is, the MVP last year of the playoffs. So their lineup gets a little better. So did they do enough? Well, those 2 teams are going to be right there, and then Schwarber goes and signs with the Phillies. And then the Phillies, if they were able to get Chris Bryant too, then you're talking about, holy shit, another division that's just tight as kite can be. So, the White Sox are in good shape. They don't got too much to worry about. I think if the Astros don't get Correa, they got to worry about what happens with the Angels and how well that they can play. They still need pitching, the Angels. So I think the American League's an interesting division. I think obviously the National League East is just going to beat the shit out of each other. And then think about this. What if, and all the projections I've seen so far say Milwaukee's going to be better than St. Louis. And I told you the other day, I like St. Louis on offense. They're really good on offense. They just don't have any pitchers. And their pitchers keep dropping like flies. Jack Flaherty is going to get an MRI, and Alex Reyes is done for a little while. So who knows what's going to happen with them. And then they're going to throw those guys out there that don't throw very hard, so they'll get hit all over the place. But what if they go get Trevor Story? They got money. So I think if they go get Trevor Story, that makes St. Louis a very dangerous team, because they have what the other teams don't in that division. They can score runs. So even if you're Milwaukee and you're playing the Cardinals, you still got to score to beat them. So I think that's an interesting division. And if Freddie Freeman goes to the Dodgers, that just makes the Dodgers that much better than everybody else out there. So I think the Padres are in a big trouble because Tatis got hurt. So, and they didn't go do anything else. So I did see, I can't remember who it was, but I did see a team that was interested in getting Will Myers, and that would help them a lot because that frees up contract space for them. But yeah, there's nothing going on in Major League Baseball, Jeff.
Well, disappointed during the show that I was doing with Riley and Colton. They had said Suzuki signed with Chicago, and I had him linked with the Red Sox the whole time. Then Schwarber signs, Rizzo signs with the Yankees. Rumor has it that the Sox are not going to pay Bogarts, and they're going to make it turn like they can't spend that kind of money based, I think, on his fielding. Obviously, not his hitting. I don't know. I don't get it. If they made the splash for Correa, which I couldn't see happening, then move Bogarts to second for a year and say, hey, we're not paying you. We're moving on with Correa there. But at this point, they're in talks with Freeman. I can't see them spending the big money to get over that luxury tax, and it's just disturbing to see Toronto making all these moves now. Which means, listen, they're all in. So they at the All-Star break and the deadline last year, they went and got Berrios. They were making moves. So you make moves like this, you're all in, and they're going to be making more moves. I guess my initial question to you, doing the projections and looking deep, they got 5 frontline starters they're going to eat up innings. Health is the issue. Okay. Are they okay from the middle to the bridge to the closing, or is that something that's going to have to be addressed?
Well, they have a good back end. The back end, the closer, the setup guys, those aren't a problem at all. And I would tell you that on most teams these days, that those guys are gotten a lot better. So your 7, 8, 9 guys, they're pretty good on most any team. Now this team is pretty good there too. And it's your 5, 6, 7 inning, 5, 6, 7 inning guys that kind of run into trouble. And then the way I've noticed that managers have used those guys is you got an A team and a B team. So if you're competitive in a game, then you have the idea that you're going to put your A guys in there and they're going to pitch to keep you in the game or to win the game. But if you're not in the game, you're going to put the B guys in there, and the B guys get bombed. So I guess every team's set up a little bit that way. Looking at roster resource and some of the different, ways to put analysis on these guys is, if you're in the top 100 of relief pitching, that's pretty good. And if you're outside of that, and you're looking at 200 to 300, that's not very good. And most of the guys that are listed on bullpens these days, the top, say, 5 or 6 guys are going to be in the top, say, 150 on most teams. And if they're good, they'll be in the top 100 on most teams. And if they're real good, they'll be in the top 80. And then you run into the guys that are kind of on the backside. I got Toronto pulled up right here, and the roster resource for the Blue Jays, and looking at their bullpen guys, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 5 guys in the top 150, and then they got a 273, a 511, and a 612. So 511 and 612 is not very good. So sure, they could use obviously more bullpen help. I think everybody can use bullpen to shore up those other spots, but I think that's going to be more or less how they're used. Even teams like the Yankees that have a pretty deep bullpen have guys that are 300, 400, 500 in the rankings, and that's just because they got to throw somebody out there when they're getting beat 10-1. The starter didn't do their job, and then you got to put somebody else in there.
A few years back when I was out here at this time, I put some money on Erod to win the Cy Young. I put some money on Erod. His under-over for wins was, I think, 8.5. I had that by the All-Star break. And then I had him to lead the majors in wins. And I had it was at they almost didn't even have him on there. It was like 150 to 1. It was going to be like a $20,000 ticket. I got to the final 2 weeks with him tied with Verlander and someone else. I had a double start week, the week before the last week, and I got no wins. And then Verlander got 2 wins the last week to get it. I'm going to throw a name out that I am so high on, and it's on Toronto. I need to know from you, does he have an innings restriction, or are they going to let him loose for 30 starts? And that's Manoah.
Let me pull him up for a second. I haven't seen an innings limit on him, but I can pretty much tell you if he's going to have one. So in 2021, so last year he threw 111 innings, almost 112. The year before that, Jeff, he threw 18. So that means he's going to have an innings limit. He's not going to throw 200 innings. I'm going to guess typically you'll see a guy go 50 to 60 innings more. So if he does, he's in the 150, 160 range, probably 170 at the most. He's predicted to throw 147 innings is what he's predicted to throw. So if you're throwing 147 innings, you could still make your 32 starts, but you're going to be pulled after 5 more than once to try to get there. So I would think that next year would be the year that they totally let him loose. But so, yeah, I don't think he's going to have full reign to go that way. And I see Marty's question on Chris Sale. I think Chris Sale's out 6 weeks, by the way.
The Manoah thing is interesting for me. I could be a year ahead of schedule here, but with that offense, there could be some games that he gets you 5 and they're up 6-0 and they give him the, hey, we'll take care of it from there. I'm going to wait to see what the odds are at Circa or Westgate. Marty's couple questions today. Yes, the Titans did release Julio Jones. I thought that was a bad signing anyways. The Trevor Bauer, Marty, I spoke to Bernie Fratto, and he says, yes, he is going to be allowed to pitch this year. They just don't know when. So they'll probably give him maybe a 30-game suspension. I don't know what it is, so don't quote me on that. And as for Chris Sale, something, I didn't like the signing when they brought him over there. I just thought with his delivery and everything, this was going to happen. He came back too soon, I thought, last year to pitch after the Tommy John, and now it's ribs or something, now 6 weeks. And we have no Erod now. He's with Detroit. So it's basically Evaldi, Pavetta, and a cloud of dust. I don't like what the Red Sox are doing. And it's almost like one of these, hey, look at the run we had last year. We're not going to compete with the horses this year. We're just going to retool, rebuild, and go from there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought John Heyman put something out today, and he said, look, with what the Blue Jays are doing, the Yankees and Red Sox are competing for 3rd and 4th. And then I started thinking, what is he talking about 3rd and 4th? He's talking about the Rays. Mm-hmm. So he's saying the Rays are going to be there. And I hate to be the guy in Tampa that beats on the Rays. I just get tired of these guys down here telling me how smart they are. The Rays are a smart team, and they do a lot of things. They do really, really well. However, I think that they learned with this opener stuff from 3-4 years ago when they didn't have starting pitchers that that's a viable way to get through a game or two. It's not a viable way to actually go through a season. So you need to have starting pitchers. And have you really looked at the list of starting pitchers that the Tampa Bay Rays have? It's not that good. In fact, it's not very good at all, to be honest. So it doesn't stack up, and it doesn't match what everybody else is throwing out there right now. And the other thing that I would tell you that will be interesting is the Yankees did what they did last year because of pitching. And they got some good things out of German, and they got some Nestor Torres or whatever his name is. They got that guy to do well. This year they get Luis Severino back. And if Luis anything close to the way Luis can be or could be, he could be a good number 2, number 3 type guy, and he could fit in right behind Cole pretty well. And then they got Montgomery, who's just been a guy that goes out there and competes and does pretty well. He's not a great pitcher, but he competes and does well every time that he goes out there. He's not going to get overmatched per se. But what if they go find a way to get Frankie Montas, or they get Sean Manaea? That really lengthens that pitching rotation, and it kind of gets them to match up. And then if they can get a little success out of this batting order and get some run production with Kiner Falea and having now Rizzo for the full season, and then getting Josh Johnson at third base, that puts a different dynamic into the mix. Other than they still need guys to get on base, and they still need guys to move around. And I don't know what they're going to do with Aaron Hicks these days. Aaron Boone says you're going to see Giancarlo Stanton play a lot of outfield. Okay, well, where's he going to play? Because you got Joey Gallo out in left field, and you got right field is taken care of by Aaron Judge, and you got Hicks in center field. You're not going to put Giancarlo Stanton in center field, for God's sakes. So what's he talking about? You're going to put him in left field and put Gallo in center field? I don't think that's going to be the right mix either. So I'm not sure what he's talking about by putting Giancarlo out in the outfield that often. And then you got to figure out how's it all going to work on the infield, right? Because now you're going to have Rizzo, and then you're going to have Torres, and then you're going to have Kiner Falefa at shortstop, and then you're going to have Donaldson at third base, and then what you're going to end up having is another spot where you're going to have what's his name float all over the place. The guy that from the Rockies, what the hell's his name? Gets a lot of base hits for them. I can't say his name off the top of my head. Anyway, normally plays second base, was going to play first base for them. Anyway, he's going to play all over the place, and that's going to shift the DH roles around. So it's going to be a weird thing. I don't know what that means. Let's get down to brass tacks. We should lower minimum wage, whatever that means. So anyhow, I just think that if the Yankees were to get some more pitching and they do something with getting those guys out of there, I think that's going to help a lot. I think Boston could use those pitchers. So, I don't know who's going to end up with them, but it'll be interesting to see how it all lays out, because it's not completed yet. And I'm pretty sure that I think the Braves are pretty much done at this point. So I don't know where Jorge Soler is going to end up, but I don't think he's going to go back to the Braves now with Eddie Rosario there now and signing Olsen. I don't think they're going to get him back.
All right, let's bring up the board. I think what we're going to do is tomorrow is the start of March Madness. I won't be doing a Chicago show tomorrow or Friday. I think we'll be able to get up bright and early and talk the Madness board. There is a big NBA slate. So was there anything on your eyes in the NBA slate? Just the eye test for me. Atlanta is now flipped to a pick against Charlotte. Philly opened at 2.5, now 3 in Cleveland. Dallas favored by 3 over Brooklyn. I think the Utah -7 against Chicago is a low line, looking for Utah money. Milwaukee 8.5 against the Tomatoes. The Celtics State's been a hot and heavy game, played game. It's down to 2, and this one smells real bad. Is the Clippers now 1-point favorites over Toronto?
Yeah, I'm going to play on Charlotte, and I played Charlotte when they were +1. What you said that I'm showing they're still +1, but they might be picked some in some places. I like Charlotte here because of 2 things. One, they were the opening overnight line. They were -2 at one point, and now they're +1. And my numbers tell me that the home and away numbers that are the more realistic numbers that I use, that's a 4-point win for Charlotte. So I'm looking at a 5-point edge that way. And then if you look at it over the last 14 games that they've been playing, Charlotte's been really, really good. So I like Charlotte in this spot. And then the one that was interesting, that Cleveland-Philadelphia game, Jeff, Embiid is listed as a game time decision. So he may not play in that game. He's 50-50 to go. So I think that's why you're seeing some action coming in on Cleveland. I kind of liked them when they were +4. I don't like them when they're like +2 or +2.5 or whatever it is. So I'm not going to go there. But I did like that Dallas and Brooklyn game in an over spot here. Dallas is not a scoring machine because they play a slower pace type game, but Brooklyn doesn't play any defense. So I kind of like the way that this game is listed at 221. My number shows probably in the neighborhood of about 225-ish, 226-ish, somewhere in there. So I'm pretty good with that game to go over the 221 number. And I really liked Minnesota today against the Lakers until I looked in Beverly and Vanderbilt, who are both starters for Minnesota. They're listed as game time decisions, and I wouldn't want a full slate of guys out there to have to cover 9 points. Not that the Lakers have been putting up much fight. So I'm just going to go with Charlotte plus the 1. I'm going to go over 221.5 with the Dallas and Brooklyn game.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, bag alert, bag alert. Rotation number 697, 698 at 7:50 a.m. yesterday, $163,500, and at 9:18, $135,000. So if my math's correct, you're looking at almost $300,000 was bet on Bryant plus 3.5. And that would be rotation 697 versus Wright State. Tip-off is at 6:40 p.m. Again, if this is the same Bagman, had a great weekend, netted about 200,000. Step into the plate here and put 164,000 and 135,000. So 300,000 on Bryant plus 3.5. So that's your bag alert. Rotation number 695, 696 at 9:10. Notre Dame and Rutgers. Notre Dame opened at 1, now 1.5. I lean Rutgers the whole way. I don't know if it's a public trendy dog at this point, Scott.
Yeah, it's 322,000 on the game. 60% of the money, 64% of the tickets on Rutgers. So I guess that's a pretty good amount of play for the public, and it kind of matches the tickets, so that kind of tells me it's more public than it is sharps. So I think it's a public play.
Yeah, so there is some reverse line movement coming in on Notre Dame there. In the NIT, rotation number 699, 700, 7 o'clock start, Dayton, Toledo. This game makes no sense to me. Dayton opens up a 1.5 point underdog, now down to 1. It reminds me of the game last night, Utah State and Oregon. Utah State opened up 5.5 for no reason, and Oregon goes box to wire there. So if you're using the stench and the smell test, Toledo money line is the play. But if Dayton shows up, I think they walk right through this team.
Yeah, this is 59% of the money and 58% of the tickets, all showing on Toledo. But not, it's only 68,000 on the game, which is not a whole lot considering that that's one of the early starts in the NIT. Mississippi State and Virginia's got 100,000 on it.
The other game, I'm not a totals guy, guys. Okay, here at 9 p.m. start, Iona in Florida, rotation number 709, 710. 142.5 is the total. I think this goes flying over. I think both teams are going to come have some fun. They're going to put the ball in the air. Iona's not known for its defense. Florida, when it does decide to show up and play, can score with the best of them when they want to play. Now, this could be a NIT where they're upset they didn't get into the dance. They weren't getting into the dance unless they won the SEC tournament. And some of these teams just don't show up. But like yesterday, Oklahoma showed up. A couple of these teams that want to make a difference did show up. But I think this game flies over the total, Scott. Do you have any numbers on the over-under?
Yeah, this is showing an opening number of 146, and now it's 142.5. And it's showing 52% of the money's on the under and 62% of the tickets on the over.
So, again, there's reverse line movement. There's a correction there. Maybe this Florida team doesn't show up. That number did look low to me. That's why I don't have the opening number of 146 in front of me there. In the pucks tonight, let me see if I can get down there. Ottawa minus 130, now 135 against Columbus. I was with Andrew today. He likes the over 6.5 there on that one. This one intrigued me, and we're on opposite sides, me and Andrew. Rotation number 47-48. Respect the open and number. Minnesota opened up minus 115 against the Bruins. Swayman is in net. The Bruins played last night, lost. No, actually, I think did the Bruins won, or did they? You got last night in front of you, Scott?
I will pull it up. Bum, 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 bum. Why is this just on? There we go. Boston. They won 2-1.
Okay, and that was with Allmark. Now they got Swayman, but that opening number with Minnesota favored here really intrigues me there. Calgary's 325 and Tampa. All right. It's that time of the show, Scott. Do you have Webby's words of wisdom today?
I do. I guess I wrote them yesterday, but I have them. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about something called advantageously positioned is the start to good luck. And really all that means is advantageously positioned is just leveraged. It means that you have good odds towards something. Life is a competition. It's for jobs, for income, for your partner, for your lifestyle, whatever it is, you're going to compete for that. So being leveraged or advantaged in position eases failures, but it also positions us to have good luck. So a lot of times when you give your heart and your soul and you have passion, all that stuff can come up short sometimes. So having the leverage to put yourself in a good spot and jockey for position, so to speak, will allow you to take advantage of opportunities that you might not have seen before because they come your way. I always teach people that every decision that you make either puts you one step closer to being successful or one or two steps behind. So every single choice you make is important. And we need to be able to make good decisions. And then that puts you into a spot where all those good decisions you make gives you the leverage to put yourself into advantageous positions so that you can take advantage of opportunities when they come. So the idea is to be able to improvise, tell the truth, carry forward traditions, be extremely competitive, be quick in some of the decisions that you make, do things over a long period of time, and jockey for position. Once you get some of these concepts and you do them over and over, you are naturally going to find yourself in advantageous positions. And then you get an opportunity, you can take advantage of it. And then some people will go, well, you just were lucky. Well, you weren't really lucky. It was all the choices and decisions you made to put yourself in the position to be lucky or be advantageous to take care of that spot. In sports, it's kind of the same way. You need to know what the true odds of certain things are so that as the things come down to the end, you know what you're wagering on. So if you have the ability to make choices and decisions on which way the market leads or what value you can find in a line, then you're going to be able to position yourself and use leverage to do lots of different other things. So Jeff always talks about it, and we talk about it a lot. You can use futures and you can use different kinds of things to put you in positions to leverage your spots and leverage your position. So what do? You do the same kinds of things, right? You do the same things. You have to tell the truth. You have to act quickly. You have to be very competitive and act responsibly and act quickly. And you do these things over and over a long period of time. And then all of a sudden you're finding that you're capitalizing on opportunities you didn't even know were there that sort of just pop up because you see them now that you didn't see them before. And then all your friends call you lucky. You're not lucky. You're just making the right choices and the right decisions to put yourself into those positions to, quote, be lucky.
I talk about Lucky. Actually, one of our big-time followers, Mr. Lucky himself, Follow Fade, which I will be breaking bread next weekend with. I can't wait for that. You're right. You have to put yourself in positions to be lucky. The luckiest team in college this year is the Providence Friars. They won the Big East regular season. And yeah, they got a lot of lucky wins. Okay. They were down 19, 18, 17 at half, come back, win in overtime. But you got to put yourself in that position, get the 50-50 ball, win the last 5 minutes, make a couple free throws, maybe make that lucky three. But you see me on my timelines 25 times this year, Scott, where my teams were put in that position and I was not lucky. And we couldn't close the game the last 30 seconds, 15 seconds. There are so many times in these lanes, Scott, that I will say right side, wrong result. That happens. And you talk about going to the window with conviction. That's what we do here every day. And unfortunately, we put ourselves in that position. And they say the numbers are supposed to even out in the long run, whether it was a blocked extra point, a pick six, a walk-off three, a missed free throw in your lanes, especially error in the ninth inning, walk, infield, hit, pass ball, sacrifice fly. You scored the winning run and you didn't even get a hit. How's that happen? It happens. But that is being part of our lanes and our business, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Bad things are going to happen. And the best thing I can tell you about the bad things that happen is just let it go. You're not in control of that. You're not in control of the good things either. But if you make the right choices over and over on a consistent basis, good things will happen eventually. And they happen because of why you're making the decisions that you make. You're putting yourself to be in that advantage spot. And when you're in that advantage spot, you're using leverage you might not even know you have. And then but that leverage that you're employing puts you in the right side of a lot of spots and then the wrong side of a lot of other things. You and I sit here and talk about this stuff all the time. We don't hear a lot of the newbie conversations and a lot of things that go on around the world and talk about these things and these lanes. And who knows what they're talking about. And you and I could sit here and listen to what they're saying and fall out of our chair. But that doesn't mean that they don't go to the window and bet those games. And they make the mistakes over and over again. What we're trying to do is just give you some food for thought, give you things to think about. And then as you're employing those things, I think over the course of time, you'll find that this stuff actually works.
Closing, anyone that just jumped on, bag alert, 3:15 yesterday. Yesterday at 7:50 a.m. and 9:18 p.m. $164,500 on Bryant plus 3.5, and then $135,000 on Bryant plus 3.5. That's tipping off in about 2 hours. So if you want to go to the window and follow the bag man, he had Bryant plus 3.5. You can get him probably right now plus 3. Myself and Scott will do our best to jump on tomorrow morning as the madness officially kicks off. Just 2 seconds. My bracket, I have 3 threes and a 2. I had Texas Tech versus Kentucky, and I had Nova versus Wisconsin. I had a Kentucky versus Nova, Kentucky 67-63.
Yeah, I didn't go that route. I don't have a lot of I didn't do a lot of college basketball handicapping and all that stuff, but I went with more of the favorites, Jeff. I got Gonzaga, Kentucky, Arizona, and Kansas. So I mean, Kentucky would be, I guess, the long shot for me. They're a 2, but I do have Texas Tech getting through past Duke. I got UCLA beating Baylor. Some of that kind of stuff. I thought Houston would come out and play pretty well and get them up to where Arizona's at. I got Tennessee beating Villanova. And then I got South Dakota State beating your Providence that you just talked about. You said everybody was on that, so I guess it is what it is. And then I have LSU beating Wisconsin. So I've got them moving forward that way. So I got a few things in there. I just didn't get it to a point where I pulled the trigger to have those teams move forward at the end.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to all our fellow followers. Thank you again to Marty for all those great questions. We're here to educate with a little entertainment. We do crack a joke and smile here once in a while. I will be in Vegas till the 31st, through the 31st. Actually, got the red eye coming back. So, got 2+ full weeks of live content from Vegas. Myself and Scott will be starting some breakdowns of each division in the MLB as these free agents land. I'm going to go to Circa and I'm going to get all the props. I'll go to Westgate, get all the props and futures. We'll have a fun day of just breaking down that. The Manoa thing really catches my eye because, again, I like his arm. I like the team, obviously. I'm not going to go chalk in any of these. The Erod thing gave me the greatest run for 6 months in my life. It's nice, when I had $300 invested in them. I already won half my money back by the All-Star break. And then to have a swing like I did, you want to pull those guys, out of the woodwork. I'm not going to go and say I got a DeGrom or a Cole Cy Young winner or a Major League Victories winner.
I'd like to see where Verlander shows up on those lists.
You think a bounce back?
Huh?
Yeah, the guy that cost me my $25,000.
Well, he's not going to be the favorite now, so I would just like to see where he shows up on that list. There's some things you got to keep track of, and one of the things that, and we'll talk about this as we get closer to the season, but spring training has its value to a handicapper, and it's not because of wins and losses. That's not it at all. It's two other things. One, keeping track of injuries and figuring out who's where and what's going on. The Colors is not going to be ready to start right away. So that puts a lot of pressure on Verlander. It puts some pressure on some of the other guys in that rotation with your Framber Valdez's and your Garcias and those guys. So that could put a little bit of better standing for a Verlander, for example. But the other thing you want to watch for, and it's not an easy thing to get because you got to find it, is you want to look at velocity on pitchers because pitchers are going to jump in here and they're going to be able to go 3 innings right away. These guys are going to go to a point where they're going to be asked in the first week of April, which is 3 weeks away now, somewhere in that neighborhood anyway, 3 weeks away. They're going to be asked to go, 85, 95 pitches. They're not going to be asked to go 100, but they're going to be asked to go 85, 95 pitches, and they got to be able to deliver. So they're going to miss 1 or maybe 2 spring training starts. So those guys have already been throwing, though, and they're already coming in with the idea that they could probably pitch 2 innings right now. And if they were pushed and had pretty good success in those first couple innings, they could go 3. So 2 innings is roughly 30 to 40 pitches. So if they're starting off at 30 to 40 pitches, it doesn't take them too long to be able to get to 80, 85, 90. So I think you're going to see the results need to come in where you're looking to see if somebody either gained velocity or lost velocity. And if they lost velocity, you want to bet against those pitchers. If they gained velocity, you want to bet on them. The reason you want to bet on them is because they've learned something. They went to an off-season workout facility. They went someplace. They got specific coaching, development, training, teaching from a specialized pitching instructor somewhere, and they were able to gain velocity. And I know that sounds the most ridiculous thing you ever heard because it did to me until I saw Clayton Kershaw do it. He went away, came back, and he threw 2 mile an hour faster than the year before. And that was even when he was, that was like 2 or 3 years ago. That was when he had his best last year, his best last season, whatever that was. And now, you get guys doing it all the time. And then you have other guys that, when they get into that danger zone, which is dropping from, 92, 91, dropping down to 90, 89, those are the guys that get hit and they get hit hard. And then if you find a guy that throws 95 and now he's throwing 91, there's something wrong. That doesn't drop off like that. So you want to bet against those guys. But you can find them if you know what you're looking for.
All righty. Always remember this, people. If you are wagering or investing tonight, I'd say please do it responsibly, unlike the bagman tonight.
I wonder if he knows anybody on that team.
No. Actually, they do have the nation's leading scorer. He's averaging over 30 points a game, like a Pete Maravich type. But no, he doesn't know anyone other than that, probably. But he's got some good feel for it, that's for sure.
No
But if
question.
you do have a problem, pick up the phone. There is an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Scotty care. We'd like to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scotty at Webby20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy the madness. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.